Liam, why? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the part of the afternoon which we entitled the guest panel, and as always we strive hard to try and find guests for you. We look high, we look low, we look up, we look down, and this time I think we found 5 guests, even though you've only been told that there are 4 guests coming, because we can't count, unfortunately. So, anyway, what I'd like you to do, please, is to welcome to the stage our first guests. They are from our wonderful entrants who sung about being in the morning with the sunshine, and unfortunately we got them here, it's in the afternoon, it's with sunshine. Please welcome Paul and Beans from Love City Groove. I told you we looked high, we looked low, we looked far away, and we've flown him over all the way from Sweden. It's a man who is responsible for Melody Festival, and as we know it, he's a man who's also responsible for Krista Bjorkman. He was also in charge of the 2000 Eurovision. Put your hands together, please, for Peter Lundin. Finally, we asked everybody whom of our previous UK entrants they most would like to see, but unfortunately we couldn't get Cliff Richard. But we've been lucky enough to have a pair of lovely birds come down and join us. Yes, it's from Prima Donna. They're cousins to Paul McCartney, sisters to Ted Robbins, members of Sheila's Wheels, and it's our 2 lovely prima donnas, Kate Robbins and Jane Robbins. Right, well, I think, Peter, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you the first question. So, Peter, why on earth did you put on Eurovision 2000?
Because Charlotte Nilsson won the...
Oh dear. But how did you come to be involved in the whole of Eurovision 2000?
When he was program director for TV3, or commercial channel in Sweden, and we were friends, and he called me from Jerusalem just after the show, and he said, "Peter, what are you doing next May?" And I said, "Oh, I don't like this question." And he said, "You're going to do the show." And I said, "No, I'm not." Anyway, besides, that means I've got to work a whole year for it. So there was some clearance to do. Nevertheless, how could you can't refuse that. So it was clearing the calendar.
Okay, so does it really take a whole year to put on Eurovision? I mean, what on earth do you have to do for a whole year? Because quite clearly there's only 5 parties to hold and a couple of nights.
Well, the assignment was, as you know, small countries don't want to win the Eurovision Song Contest because they don't have the funding. And SCT certainly didn't want to win that. And I mean, they were gratified but terrified. And they said, the assignment is, you've got to put on a show for 0 crowns. You've got to fund everything externally. And so that took a year.
And this was the first year that you charged for entrance, and you got sponsorship as well, didn't you?
Yes, so we had a third of the money we needed, it was about 60 million crowns, 6 million euros, And the rest, the other 2/3, we had to raise. And that we did that by actually making the shows, the rehearsals in the last week, ticket sales. And then we farmed out the box office to the arena, so we didn't have to take any chances and risk any money. And that was the second third. And the last third was sponsorship and barters and all that sort of thing. All the things you see in the end credits.
And you know, what was the most difficult thing you think about putting on Eurovision 2000?
Well, it was really to try and to control 6 different projects, because we had a project for the actual management of the fundraising, we had a project for the show, we had a pre-production project, you know, everything from postcards to the enormous ambition that we had as it was the year 2000, it was a millennium, a change of new millennium, and we thought we really have to show ourselves from you know, our best side, as it were.
I gather the postcards that you put on were slightly controversial with some people.
I always used to enjoy listening to Terry Wogan, but I didn't enjoy listening to him then, because he said, "What have you done? You've destroyed our contribution here. We have to talk during these postcards, but they're so damn good that nobody will hear what we're saying."
I think everyone was very grateful to you for that. Indeed. And of course, it also strikes me, I always think that the 2000 Eurovision was the first one that really put the fans to the sort of the front of the event, and there seemed to be concentration on flags and actual enjoying the fans, whereas before that it seemed to be very much that the dignitaries would be the people who were selected in the audience.
Well, I don't know how that happened. I mean, it wasn't anything that I think that we planned, but it might have been the fact that a lot of people had already seen the 5 shows that were the rehearsals, and so more tickets may have become available for fans to be close to the stage than before. It's the only reason I can think of. But I haven't seen too many Eurovision Song Contests before in live or anything, so I wasn't sure, you know, how that was.
And then the other thing is that having done this, you decided that you were going to get involved again with Melody Festival, and I mean, why?
It was this terrible person, Svantes Doxelius, who again called me and he said, "You know what? All these extra shows that we've funded Eurovision by, why don't we take getting them, you know, the qualifying tour? We make a tour, and we go around 5 cities and a second and maybe a 6th city too, and we put on a show for everybody out, you know, in the country, in far reaches of Sweden, where people can sort of get the gold sandalettes on and some glitter, you know, on their chests, not the guys, but anyway, and feel and go to a party. Before that, there had been 1 show a year, and it was boring.
And then but from going from 1 show to 6 shows, I mean, that must have taken a lot of decision making.
Yes, it was, because, you know, of course, again, SVT couldn't contribute anything else but their own staff and so forth. But what they did do was they would get, by these 6 shows, they would get 6 prime time, 8 o'clock Saturday night shows for maybe half of what they'd spent for 1 show before. Because it's the same set, we just toured around with everything, so it was effective. It was financially effective.
But, I mean, wasn't there a sort of feeling that actually if you're going to have 4 shows, you're going to need to have many more songs? And I mean, the Swedish always had a successful Schlager, and I know many people in the audience quite like Swedish Schlager. But I mean, was there sort of a difficulty in trying to broaden it out? I mean, how did the music industry react to it?
Well, we went to the record companies and to the music publishers and said, we're willing to actually show up 32 or something numbers every year instead of 10. And why don't you help us by giving name acts the task of doing songs for the Eurovision? And they said, it's going to be a hard thing for us to do. But they tried, and over the first few years, I would say that we did get name acts, and we also built name acts, new name acts that are still with us. We just saw Jill Johnson there a couple of, you know, I mean, she became established by this, I think, in some ways.
And of course, there was a lot of success in some of the Swedish charts as well back then. And of course, you got Christer Björkman involved, who's now Mr. Melody Festival. So
you put that to my credit, I heard. Yes, I love Chris. He's I think, been responsible for the fact that that this tour that we started in 2002 is still with us. Because what they've done is I've left it, but they've continued building it and changing it and finding new ways of expressing what their ambition. Of course, the ambition is maybe a little too much, I think, perhaps concentrating on winning Eurovision Song Contest. In actual fact, I think it's more about building Swedish music.
And I think one of the problems because we always say to the BBC, look at Melody Festival, why can't you do that? And they always come back to us and say, well, we can't do it because we're a public broadcaster. How does SVT get around that?
Well, I took I let my company promote all the concerts, and SVT, and we did a deal with SVT where they were responsible for the competition. And we put on a show and sold tickets and did deals for sponsoring and so forth. So it was two separate projects. It's been criticized, but it's never been found to be impossible, and it's still around.
And did you make a profit?
You know, the BBC should maybe think about that.
Did you make a profit out of it?
Not enough.